So what I've done is just gone and get a filter from the shop that I'm going to lend, because I need to replace the impeller in here, and that's not going to happen today. So in the meantime, I'm going to clean up a bit of that media, put it inside this filter. I'm also going to put some fresh filter wool. I'm also going to put some fresh polyfilter. Polyfilter is basically God's gift to these situations, because the polyfilter will help to remove anything impure out of the water, which we're going to need right now. I'm also going to put a bit of resin in there, and this also is going to help to suck everything out of the water. Right now, because our water quality is not as good as it could be, I really want to polish this water up as soon as possible. Look at this. I'm just like the pool guy, except much smellier. Yum. What I've done now is cleaned out the filter material in water I've taken out of the aquarium itself, and this is matrix. So this is a very good filter media, but over time it does clog up. So over years and years, you do want to look at replacing it. And if I was going to replace it, I'd replace it for what's called Marine Pure, because Marine Pure offers better parallel denitrification, and I prefer it as a filter material. But in general, Seachem's matrix is also very good filter material. So now I'm just going to wash out this filter material before I use it. This top one, I've got our chemical media here. I've got our poly filter here, and I've got some good quality filter wool here. And then in the other one, I'm going to just put extra filter wool, because I want this filter to try and filter out all these particles as much as possible. And then we're going to come back later in the week, give this another clean, and I'd expect that to be very dirty, governed by the fact that there's so much crap in the gravel. Any of these fake decorations that you have in the tank, they'll look good for a few months, and then after a while they look terrible. Now if you put them out in the sun, now I'm not sure how sunny this spot is, but if we can make sure this is in the sun for a day or so, and then we'll flip it over, leave it in the sun for a day or so, then hit it with a hose, and you'll be surprised how much better this will look. But just be aware that you got to consider these things being a little bit disposable or consumable, because they last for a while, and then after a year or two I tend to just chuck them out and put new ones in. It makes the tank look $1 million. I'm a big fan of change, every now and then just changing stuff around within your tank. But yeah, this needs attention. Okay, so now I'm giving the tank a gravel clean, and as you can see, the gravel is very, very dirty. So I want this done as regularly as possible for now, until this gravel is all nice and cleaned up. And then once the gravel's all nice and cleaned up, then I just want to make sure we're not feeding as much. I've added some fish now, and the fish should help scavenge. And if those fish survive okay and don't get eaten by the turtles, which may or may not happen, then we could even consider putting some nicer looking fish in. And then I'm going to dose the tank with sludge destroyer, because really all this crap is what I want out of the aquarium. So I'd like to do regular water changes, and I'd like to cut the food down until the tank's nice and clean. And I want to up the water flow significantly. So for a turtle aquarium, when you're topping up or water changing, you've got to make sure that you add a water ager every time to take out chlorine and chloramone. You also need to be aware of the GH and KH levels. In this case, the GH is slightly high, which I am not worried about, and the KH is slightly low, but not enough for me to worry about. So GH, KH, pH are your concerns with regular testing. If your nitrate and phosphate come up, that means you need more water changes. And if your ammonia or nitrite come up, that means that you're either feeding too much or your filters are not up to scratch. I've had this UV water pump or filter available at the shop to lend, and then I've MacGyvered up this strainer. It's going to make sure that doesn't clog up, and then we can see now that it's pumping very well now. So the filter's pumping very well, Now I'm very concerned about just how much crap there is. I've done a significant gravel clean. A fine net is a wonderful thing though, because what a fine net would do is scoop all this crap up. So you can see how much crap's in here. But because this is not a fine net, it's going to take lots of crap out, but not as much as I wish. A fine net is a good little thing to have in your arsenal for scooping crap out of the aquarium. What we've got going on here is we have some extra water ager.
Yeah.
I've already dosed water ager, but that's a different water ager, so that's good.
Yeah.
Then we've got some sludge destroyer. Most of these products I do think last longer in the fridge, but this is way in date anyway, so no problem. And I've almost used it all. So maybe in a couple of weeks, tip the rest of this in, and then
keep it in the fridge.
And then get a new one and keep it in the fridge. Exactly right. Now this one's algae fix. I tend to only use algae fix if I feel like I need to. So I'm not against using this, but this is not a go-to product for me.
Okay.
And then we've got Safe. Now Safe is a very, very concentrated water ager. So far we have this one as a water ager, we have this one as a water ager, and we also have another water ager. So we have 3 lots of water agers, so we won't be running out of them anytime soon. Okay, so we've got these little crossbred cichlids buzzing around. They're just going to create,
the other ones, eh?
yeah, there's 3 of them in there somewhere, but they're just going to create a little bit of interest and hopefully help to scavenge. Now here's Mrs. Turtle. Now the other thing I would do if this was my tank is I would have a flipper, because I love flippers. Flippers just let you clean the glass like this.
Oh, yeah.
They got a little razor blade on them, and I just love them. I think, like, even just for little things like that,
Yeah, yeah.
you can just use your flipper instead of having to get in there and give it a clean. I'm a big fan of the flippers. So now let's put the lids back on. So it'll take the turtles and the fish a little bit of time to get used to the water flow. That's normal. But we now have very good water flow. The filter has an inlet, so it's important that that doesn't get clogged up with leaves and stuff. So if you do suddenly look at it and this isn't going on anymore, that probably means that something's clogged up in the pump, because I've wedged the pump just up inside there.
Yep.
So normally we just take it out, give it a clean, put it back in and turn it back on, no big deal. And the tank is so much cleaner than it was, but these sorts of cleans are never one-stop shop. They're never just give it a clean and it's done, because it does take time to get to this state and it does take time to fix it. But compared to the tank when I first arrived, it looks 1,000% better, but it'll be much more than, it'll be a lot better than this with time. So all should be fine. Now, one thing I will say for me is that when you work for people that love their animals, it's an absolute honor, because you keep animals not as a right, but you know, it's really a privilege to have pets and have animals. And when you deal with people that you can tell actually really love their animals, whether it be a turtle, a fish, a cat, but that love that you give the animal, I think it's, if you don't have that, I don't think you should have pets. Some people that treat their animals like a piece of furniture or a commodity, something that is an inconvenience at times. I don't think that having animals with an aim for them to survive is enough. I really think that if you're going to keep animals, your plan needs to be to allow those animals to thrive. So for me, working for people that really aim to have animals that thrive and that just love their animals is an absolute honor. And working for people that treat their animals like anything less than that, it's really discouraging.